Welcome to International Printing House. The process begins with the client brief and understanding the client brief, understanding the market. Thereby you begin with design and choosing images, which was done for us by a designer in the UK. We had to design a template. Now all the templates were produced here in IPH, sent to the designer for him to then place the images, knowing what the permutations were, how the job was going to be put together was important. So once all that part is done, we begin with receiving the images from the designer into our studio. We then have to choose the substrate that we're going to print the images onto, and we have to make the adjustments in the reprographic stage to allow for it to print onto that substrate and optimize the image to its best. So it has to be durable, and it has to be done to the exact sizes of the CD, of the brochure, etc. And it has to portray the images of حماقي, who is a very visual subject. So once we've chosen the paper, the images are in place, the templates are all done, we then get final approval from the client and we make sure everything works. Once we're on the run properly and the client has signed the sheet off, we need to ensure that every sheet is as good as the sheet that was signed by the client. And to maintain that standard and that level of quality, we use a piece of equipment called image control. What the printer does is every so many hundred sheets, he will put a sheet on the bed of the image control device, and the quality control inspector will scan that sheet. The scanning device can detect the different colours by way of detecting a wavelength. Each colour has its own unique wavelength. So it can detect which colour is printing well and which colour might be having a problem. And this is the quality standard that IPH produce every job to. Once the job is printed, we then have to die cut it to its specific shape. Now, to die cut it, we need to make up a form, and the form is made up using creasing rules, cutting rules into a wooden base, and this is then placed onto a machine that applies an awful lot of pressure and cuts straight through a sheet of paper, and leaves you with just the actual digipack and nothing else, just a digipack with its glue flaps ready for the application of the glue or double-sided sticky tape, depending on how you're putting it together. And this is all done by hand, so it's a very long and laborious task. The other thing is, when doing something like this by hand, is quality. So we have to have quality control inspectors working round the clock, checking to make sure everybody is working to the correct standard. Anything that falls below that standard is rejected or corrected. Now, along the way, of course, we have to produce various elements that go in the digipack. One of them is a brochure. Now the brochure, we decided to get the best out of it. It would be nice if it was various images to fit all the panels on one side, but as it opened out, it became a poster. So it was very important to get the colours correct. So we were able to use two presses to do the job at the same time, to make sure that the colour from one press was identical to the colour on the other press. And this was done on two different types of paper, so it made it a little bit harder. The poster was then gloss coated, and the gloss coating basically enhances the colour, gives it a little bit more durability and makes it nice and shiny.